The next morning, the stone of Stormland Zone, a young robotic pronghorn named Casa was in her room. She was sitting on her window. She and her older sister Clove have been part of the Eggman Empire because of their condition. Cassia contracted a life-threatening illness, disabled senses such as sight, smell, and breathing. Thus, in desperation, Clove made a deal with Eggman that she would undergo cybernation in exchange to serving the Eggman Empire. Although Cassia did felt better after the cyberizing process, she personally hated the idea of being Eggman's slave. As her mutual hatred towards the Doctor and their fellow Egg bosses deepened, she longed for her and her sister to be free. Cassia stared at the view of the hills and began to see the sun rising. Ah, what a glorious day, she thought, except the fact that Clover had to serve for the phony doctor again. She moped at the window until she found a green flickety. Immediately, Cassia took the satisfaction by it and opened the window to let it in. The green flicky felt welcomed and landed on the pronghorn's finger. Good morning, little guy, Cassia greeted. The bird tweeted back. You're pretty lucky that you don't have to be trapped in the cage, Cassia said. Me with these cyber knights internally helping me with my sickness is another thing. I feel like I'm a bird like you, waiting for my freedom. Just then, Clover called for her sister. Cassia! She heard her older sister walking up to her room. It's Clover, Cassia said. Time to go. The flickety bin began to fly away, but not before the tweeting of the pronghorn a goodbye. It's nice chatting with you, Cassia called, before closing the window shut. Clover entered her sister's room and found her sister sitting in the window. There you are, dear, she said. We missed you at breakfast. Sorry, sis, Cassia said. I just got a bit sidetracked. Clove then sat down next to Cassia and looked through the window. She clearly understood what her sister was thinking about. For the sake of her sister, she reluctantly joined the Eggman Empire. She wanted to tell Cassia the truth recently, but she did not want to hurt her. She turned to her and asked, You really want to leave the Eggman Empire badly, don't ya? Cassia turned to look at her sister, who answered, Really, really badly. Clover began to feel sorrow and ashamed. She also felt her head turn to the window. Cassia noticed that and started to wonder why her older sister felt that way. What's wrong? She asked. Clover then looked at her and shook her guilt off. Nothing, she said. Nothing, really. She then placed her hand on her sister's shoulder. Tell you what, as soon as you're all better, we will get away from Eggman, Clove suggested. Cassia then began to feel hopeful. Great idea, Clover, she said. Perfect, Clover said, patting her sister on the shoulder. Come on and let's have breakfast, she said. Okay, Cassia said. We're having your favorite chocolate chip pancakes, Clover said. All right, Cassia cheered. I'm so hungry. As Cassia ran excitedly to the kitchen, Clove walked her away. She then felt her and her sister's lives were on the line. If she were to tell her the truth, she would be stressed, and if she were to leave Eggman, then Cassia would die without any treatment. Clove was very scared that she did not know what to do, so it was for the best if she stayed silent. Sometime after breakfast, Cassia was looking out for her sister. I haven't seen her since breakfast, she thought. I hope she's okay. She stopped when she saw the door that led to the communication room half opened, so she decided to have a peek to see if Clover was in. Surprisingly, though, Clover was there and was talking with Dr. Eggman about an important subject. Cassia then decided to listen to their conversation. You see, Doctor, my sister is doing all right, Clover said, but she had an incident the other day. You told me that her cyberknights were making her feel better. Did I tell you that? Dr. Eggman said. But I lied. Clover then was shocked at the news. The feeling then went to Cassia as well. Shaken, yet unhesitatingly, Clover wanted answers from Dr. Eggman right that instant. Why, Doctor? She demanded. Why did you lie to me? You see, Clover, my cyber knights restored some functionality, Dr. Eggman explained, but I never cured her condition. The treatment isn't going to adapt to cybernetics. It's to keep her from disagreeing further. And if she still stops going under treatment, well, she'll die? Clover asked. Cassia quietly gasped. She was horrified about her potential death if she were to stop the treatment that helped her condition. Within a matter of seconds, Cassia's fear of her life then turned into anger, and then the doctor and her sister. She could no longer bear to listen to the conversation, so she stormed into the room to confront Dr. Eggman. So you're telling my sister that you blackmail her so you can get us to join your empire? Cassia shouted. Cassia, Clover said. Cassia, my dear, Dr. Eggman stated. I didn't blackmail you, your sister. I just wanted her to trust me by giving me the cybernetics that are not curing me in any way. Cassia added. Cass, I really think you should calm down, Clove said. She did attempt to reasonable with her sister, but Cassia didn't want to hear it. Shut up, Cassia yelled. Her attention then turned back to the doctor. Because of your name, Dr. Eggman, you should be arrested for impersonating the doctor, Cassia shouted. Cassia, Dr. Eggman explained, your sister chose this for you, so she could serve as my egg boss for my right empire. With that all being said, Cassia turned to look at Clove. She was then obviously scared, yet guilty for not telling her sister the truth about the cybernetics. Cassia's shocked expression turned to anger. Is this true, Clover? She then asked her sister. Is it true that you choose to serve Eggman so you could have me be a slave for all my mistreatment? The feeling of speechlessness about the realization, Clover remained silent, even though she began to tear up. Arranged for not getting a straight answer, Cassia then turned to the doctor and looked out for the tonfas, melee weapons of martial arts. Eggman, you are such a bully and a liar, she shouted. She then took her tonfas and then began to smash the screen with them, ending the conversation with that. After that, Cassia then ran out of the room in tears. Cassia, Clover shouted. She then followed her suit all the way to catch up with the grief-stricken pronghorn. All the girls ran outside of the fortress in their home. Before Cassia knew it, Clover caught her by the arm. Cassia, wait, she pleaded. Cassia pushed her arm off of her sister. Clove, why did you lie to me? She demanded. How could you do this to me? It's because I was scared, Clover answered. I didn't want to lose you to the illness you have. Well, I think that you're a good liar and a good sister, Cassia stated. And she was still hurt knowing the entire truth about the cybernetics and Eggman. I can't believe that you would do such a thing to me. I didn't want you to make you feel scared or stressed, Clover explained. I'm not scared or stressed, Cassia said. I'm angry and I am bewildered, but mostly I am distraught. Clover then tried to hang her head in order to calm her sister down. I understand, Cass, she said. However, Cassia pushed her away from her. Don't touch me, she yelled. If you were here to ask me to join the Eggman Empire, regardless of these cybernetics, I would have said no. I don't trust Eggman, and I never will trust him. I don't want my older sister to die, Clover cried. I agreed to join the Eggman Empire for you because I was scared for you. That shows you're a coward, Cassia snarled. She then grabbed her older sister by the uniform and demanded, Now I want you to tell me, how long have you been hiding this from me? Clover tried to explain the duration of the lie, but she couldn't bring herself up to do it. She stuttered. Enraged, Cassia then threw her sister down to the ground and yelled, That's it. If you can't give me a straight answer right away, that means you have been holding it from me for a long time. You just make me sick. I just wish you were never my sister. Then began to walk away from her older sister. Cassia, please wait, Clover pleaded. Let me explain. Cassia turned back and yelled, Nothing will convince me to stay with you. You went ahead and agreed with Eggman to serve him up without my knowledge. You're such a liar. So keep the explanations to yourself, Clover. I never want to see you again or speak to you again. Goodbye forever. With that said, Cassia began to run as far away from Clove as she could. And as for Clove, she got up from the ground and called to her sister. Cassia, she called, I'm sorry. But unfortunately, she ran too far that she didn't hear her apologizing. I'm sorry, Clover said. I didn't mean to hurt you. Little sis, I didn't mean to make you so angry. She then began to feel ashamed for betraying her sister. You don't understand, she said, sinking to the sturdy rock for her to sit down. There was no other way. I had to do it. I wished I had told you sooner. Clover teared up and then sung her solo. She felt remorseful for her hurting sister in many ways. She still regretted it, but it still pained her to see her sister in so much pain. After crying for a few minutes of crying, Clover realized that Cassia's condition was at stake without treatment. Cassia, her condition, she said. She dried her tears up and then got up from the rock. If she doesn't get her treatment, then she'll die, she then said. Her shocked facial expression suddenly changed to a determined one. I must make this wrong. I must right this wrong, Clover said. I must find my sister and try to make up with her the best I can. But if she's going to take any more of herself to find her, with that being said, Clover began to run from Stone's Storm Eye Zone to search for anyone who could help her find and save Cassia.